Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining in on the Team Calgary Special Olympics Provincial Summer Games information session. Our original plan was to have a recording of the meeting itself. Unfortunately, we did have some technical difficulties, but we are going to go through all of the slides with you right now, and you should have all of the information that was shared at the meeting. But of course, if you have any questions or follow-up points that you want to discuss, then by all means, please give myself, Sarah, or Mick a call, and we'll be happy to go through everything with you. So to start things off, we're going to look at the number of athletes that are traveling up to Grand Prairie for the 2025 Special Olympics Alberta Summer Games. So the games are going to take place in Grand Prairie from July 11th to 13th. In total, they are expecting 694 athletes, as well as 221 coaches and 86 mission staff and volunteers, and that is from a total of 19 Alberta affiliates plus Northwest Territories. Now looking at Team Calgary, you'll see we have a breakdown here of all of the different sports, as well as the number of athletes, coaches, and volunteers representing each one of our sports from Calgary. We have a grand total of 311 team members representing Team Calgary. That includes all athletes, coaches, volunteers, including mission staff, as well as the 3 staff members that are joining Team Calgary. So we're very excited to have such a great representation heading up to Grand Prairie. This slide here will show you the team structure. So you'll see we have myself, Sarah Robinson, as the chef de mission. I'll be working very closely with Mick Boycell. He will be the assistant chef de mission. We also have Stephen Grant, who is going to be our team medical support person. We have 4 incredible team managers. So we have Lonnie, who will be assisting with powerlifting, swimming, and bocce, as well as Debbie, who will be assisting with athletics, rhythmic gymnastics, and softball. Bill, he will be assisting with basketball, 10-pin, and soccer. And Chris, who will be playing a dual role, he's the team manager as well as the head coach for golf. Moving right along to provincial games eligibility. So for all of those athletes that are traveling up with us to Grand Prairie, there is some endorsement criteria that was used for the athletes to attend these games. Really, what pieces that were looked at were the ability to travel, the ability to be away from family or community, and then attendance at the regular practices and training sessions. It must be 75%. Behavior appropriateness as well as attitude are critical. And then they must have attended a qualifying event and must meet our minimum age requirement. For provincial games, the minimum age requirement is 13. For nationals as well as international games, it's 14 years old. Now looking at the transportation from Calgary to Grand Prairie, we are expecting 7 buses. In addition to that, we will have 2 mission staff vehicles making the trek from Calgary to Grand Prairie. One of the buses is going to stop in Olds, and then in addition to the stop in Olds, we will be taking 2 rest stops along the way up to Grand Prairie. So it will be an approximately a 10-hour trip. We do ask that athletes either have breakfast before coming or bring breakfast, as well as lunch and lots of snacks for the bus as well, because 10 hours you will want to have lots of food with you, as well as water for the bus. Please ensure that you do fill your water bottle up prior to getting to Heritage Christian Academy as well, please. On the bus, we will have males and females separated, and we do ask that you please do not use access for pickup or drop off at the buses. One thing I do want to note as well is all Team Calgary members, so that includes coaches as well as volunteers and of course athletes, must travel up and stay with the team in order to be eligible to be endorsed for Team Alberta. Now, looking at the times that the bus is leaving Calgary, so we do ask that athletes be at Heritage Christian Academy at 4:30 a.m. on July 11th because the buses will be departing at 5 a.m. sharp. So it is critical that everyone get there for 4:30 a.m. so that we have enough time to get everything loaded. Everyone needs to hand in their medical forms, and we do need to get organized and take attendance prior to departing at 5 a.m. So please make sure that you do have a ride in place. Again, please do not use access for drop off at the buses. Please make sure you have a ride in place and that you are there for 4:30 a.m. because again, we will be departing at 5 a.m. And the buses are expected to arrive at the hotels in Grand Prairie around 3 o'clock. Now, transportation from Grand Prairie, again, we are expecting 7 buses and 2 mission staff to travel alongside the buses. We will be making one stop in Olds, and that will be to drop off the Olds team. And athletes will receive a boxed lunch for the ride home. So they will receive a lunch prior to getting onto the bus. So then that way that can be enjoyed on the way home. And then in addition to that, we will have snacks. Again, the same rules will apply where males and females will be separated on the bus. And we once again ask that you please do not use access for pickup or drop off at the buses. It is really important that there is somebody lined up to pick all of the athletes up because if the bus is running late due to weather or traffic, it is critical that there is that flexibility for that pickup time in case it is required. Now, luggage will be loaded by volunteers on the bus ride home. So athletes on the last day of competition, which is Sunday, then they will be leaving their baggage in a room at the hotel and in some cases a van where the buses, or I'm sorry, some local volunteers will be loading the luggage onto the buses. So it is critical that all of the baggage is tagged correctly. Now each athlete will receive 2 tags, 2 Team Calgary name tags. It indicates Team Calgary on one side as well as it has their name and sport on the other side. It is critical that those are put onto the luggage pieces because that's how we know which bus your items need to be loaded onto. Athletes may return home with a family member. So as I mentioned, athletes do need to travel up to Grand Prairie with the team and stay with the team in order to be eligible for Team Alberta. However, athletes do have the opportunity to travel home or return home with a family member, but I do ask that you let me know by July 1st. And an athlete release waiver will need to be signed and provided to the head coach once that athlete is released from the head coach custody. Now, when we're looking at the times from Grand Prairie, buses are expected to depart Eastlink Center at 2 p.m. and arrive back to Heritage Christian Academy at 11:45 p.m. From a luggage standpoint, we do ask that each Team Calgary member only bring one small suitcase and one backpack, and each of the members will receive a name tag for each of those pieces. Now, we do have a few sports that will be receiving name tags for their equipment bags as well. Those sports are 10-pin bowling, golf, rhythmic gymnastics, as well as softball. We do ask that you only pack what is required and please lean on using our packing list because it is really important that we're sticking to those small suitcases as well as backpacks and in some cases an equipment bag just because we do have limited space on the bus and we want to make sure that everyone's items will be loaded. Now, you are allowed to bring electronics, so whether that be an iPad or a phone, but these are brought at your own risk, and we do ask that you have a secure place to leave them, because if you are at an event or a venue, then just know that it is there's many others around, and in some cases the general public as well. Now, uniforms. So Special Olympics Calgary will provide athletes with a red lightweight jacket, two shirts, one of which is red and one is gray. Now, if you are in golf, bocce, or 10 pin, your red shirt will be a polo shirt instead of a red t-shirt, and this is because it is utilized as your team uniform as well. In addition to that, you will receive a hat as well as a backpack. Now, to go with your team uniform, all Team Calgary members must bring a pair of black pants, shorts, or a skirt. The shorts or the skirts must not be any higher than 2 inches above the knee. And for opening ceremonies, we are going to ask that all team members, so all members of Team Calgary, are to wear the red jacket, gray shirt, hat, and black pants. And then in addition to the Team Calgary uniform, athletes must bring their sport-specific uniforms that are given to them by their coaches, as well as their personal equipment. Now we'll look at accommodations. So males and females will have separate rooms in the hotels. There will be 2 to 3 people per room, but each individual will have their own bed, and rooms have already been assigned. Athletes will not be allowed to leave the premises except when going to a sport venue, and athletes are not allowed to have guests in their rooms. Cigarette smoking is allowed in designated areas only and will be strictly enforced. And the curfew for all participants is 10 p.m. For medication and medical forms, so you'll receive the forms on an attachment to this email. And one thing to note is athletes must bring any required medication in a blister package. On the next slide, we actually have some examples for you as to what those blister packages can look like. The medication information and administration form, so that's going to be the form that is attached to the email. Then that form needs to be signed by the athlete, parent, or guardian and handed to the head coach, even if the athlete is not on medication. So we do need to receive one of these forms signed from every single one of the athletes upon loading the bus. Okay, so these forms will be provided to the head coach as athletes load the bus on July 11th. The Special Olympics Calgary coaches will secure and supervise all medication and will provide the medication to the athlete for self-administration. So these are some examples of blister packs, and you should be able to get those from your pharmacy. From a hospitalization perspective, so as for the medical form, the top blurb that is listed there is critical to know and understand, because should an athlete need to go to the hospital, then we will be reaching out to their emergency contacts and asking them to, and we will require them to meet the athlete at the hospital. If an athlete is their own guardian, then the emergency contact person will be notified and a decision will be made at that time. So it is critical that the head coaches have up-to-date emergency contact information. So if any of your contact information has changed recently, please ensure that your head coach is aware. Now looking at alcohol and cannabis, The consumption of alcohol and use of cannabis is strictly prohibited for the duration of the games. Any member of the team that violates this policy will be sent home immediately at their own expense and may be suspended from Special Olympics Calgary. Special exemptions for the use of cannabis for medical reasons must be arranged with myself ahead of time. So please do reach out to Sarah Robinson if you do require any kind of exemption, and we will go through that process. So food services, food for the games will be provided by the organizing committee, and it is the same for all of the teams. Dietary restriction meals will be supplied for athletes that listed restrictions in their intent submissions. And anyone not able to eat the provided meals, or if you have restricted diet, or just certain foods that you like to eat, please feel free to bring your own food and snacks if there are certain limitations that you want to stand by. As this is a sporting event, we do ask that healthy meals are being provided if you are bringing your own snacks, and that we don't have any greasy or fast food. Now this slide gives you a bit of an idea as to what to expect for breakfast, lunch, and dinner while in Grande Prairie. So breakfast will be supplied by the hotels. So you're looking at a pretty standard hotel continental breakfast, which generally includes things such as eggs or cereal, toast, along with milk, orange juice, that kind of thing. And the breakfast will be consistent between those meals, or sorry, between the hotels. From a lunch side of things, lunch will be provided at the sporting venues with teams eating around competition schedules, and these lunches will be boxed and individually labeled. And then, of course, anybody who had listed their dietary needs, those lunches will be available. You'll see we do have 2 dinners listed there. Dinner for night number 1 is listed, as well as dinner for night number 2. And then again, dietary restriction meals will be supplied for athletes that listed restrictions in the intent submission. Just a quick note on allergies. So due to a number of allergies with team members, please do not use or bring perfumes or colognes or strongly scented body lotions. And we do have athletes with peanut allergies, so please do not bring any products that may contain nuts. Now we know many family members are heading up to Grande Prairie, family and friends, to cheer on our athletes, and we sure do appreciate that. However, the hectic schedule of games really it will be challenging for the athletes to make time for the proper training as well as being at the facilities and for visiting. So we do ask that everyone assist in ensuring the priority for athletes at games is the competition, and only individuals with accreditation will be allowed past certain points at the venues and in the accommodations. Now for sports schedules, these schedules are being finalized and the game's website is being updated. So you'll see the website is listed here and it will be provided in the email that this video is sent with. So please do look for that link in the email. Now keep in mind that game's website is going to continue to be updated, so please check for updated information as we do get closer to games. But that's where you will find lots of information around the sports schedules, location of the venues, as well as other great pieces of information about the games that you may want to know as a spectator as well as an athlete. Now, looking at weather, I know many people are aware that there are fires in the Grand Prairie area. Of course, with fires come smoke, and then, of course, we do also have the possibility of extreme weather. So it is important to know that the games organizing committee, they have contingency plans in place for smoke and weather challenges, and we do want to respect the fact that they are working through that, and it is an ongoing piece where they will communicate details to us as we get closer to the games. But one thing that we can all do is update our emergency contact information, because in the instant that us from Team Calgary that we need to contact someone if there are a change in plans due to weather, then it's very important that we have that accurate and up-to-date information. But please know that this is something that is being taken very seriously by the Games Organizing Committee, and they are working through contingency plans just to put everything in place should we face extreme weather, should we face smoke, that we do have great plans for either delaying or moving the location of some of the sports to indoor venues. Now looking at opening ceremonies. So as noted before, we have a lot of friends and family that are heading up to cheer on our athletes. So opening ceremonies can be viewed by the public. The ceremonies will take place on Friday, July 11th at the Bonnets Energy Center. The doors will open at 6 p.m. and the ceremonies will begin at 7 o'clock. And it is free for spectators to attend. No tickets are required in advance. So we do ask that if you're able to join, please join in the stands and cheer on our athletes. One thing to note though is family and friends will not be able to visit with athletes before or after the ceremonies, but we still do want to see you there cheering them on in the crowd. And from a closing ceremony side of things, due to time constraints, there will not be closing ceremonies on the Sunday. There will be a small closing ceremony program led by the Athlete Games ambassadors on Saturday at the Athlete Banquet. So this will be for teams only and will not be open to the public. Now, one thing to note for athletes is the banquet theme is Rock the Rainbow, so please feel free to wear bright colors to the banquet. And games apparel. So games merchandise will be available and on site at Eastlink Center on Saturday, Bonnets Energy Center on Saturday as well, at the Family Barbecue on Saturday, and again at Eastlink on Sunday. And the family barbecue. Many of you would have seen a link in the email that I had sent out originally in April. There is a family barbecue taking place on Saturday, July 12th from 5 to 7 p.m. This is taking place at the Grand Prairie Museum and Heritage Village. So it's a free barbecue for all family members attending the Special Olympics Summer Games, and tickets are required for this. So this as well, the link will be available in the email. Sportsmanship. So, sportsmanship is very important to all of our programs and, of course, to games as well. So, Special Olympics Calgary team members are expected to display good sportsmanship throughout the entire weekend. There will be no booing when other affiliates come in during open ceremonies or competition, and doing so would result in athletes or a coach being withdrawn from the game. Please congratulate or fist pump if you're comfortable at the end of competition, and always thank the officials as well. Handouts. So 3 handouts that were received at the meeting and will be attached in this email are the packing list, the medical information and administration form. Again, that form is required and mandatory for every athlete upon loading the bus on July 11th. And then the Special Olympics Calgary athlete release form. that form is utilized for any athletes that are not returning on the bus to Calgary from Grand Prairie. And that must be signed and given to the head coach in advance of the athlete going with their parent. Looking at the Team Alberta selection process. So the games are slotted to take place in 2026 in Medicine Hat. And from a quotas perspective, the number of athletes that can advance is determined from the quotas that Special Olympics Alberta is provided from Special Olympics Canada. And you'll see in a few slides here, we do show the quota. Of course, from an endorsement perspective, we already talked about travel. So it is critical that anyone, in order to be endorsed, is traveling up on the bus to Grand Prairie and staying with the team. And Team Alberta will be selected based on the performance, both behavioral and sport at the games. And affiliates and coaches will endorse athletes if they feel that the athletes are suited to move forward to the next level of competition. You'll see here, this slide, it shows you the Team Alberta quotas. And then, of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself, Sarah Robinson, or Mick Boycell, and we'd be happy to help. Now, all of the athletes that were at the meeting did receive their backpacks, and then coaches did bring those backpacks with them for the athletes that were not there. So please connect with your coach in order to get your backpack. If there are any issues once you do open that backpack, then please let myself or Mick know. And that is all for today. So thank you for taking the time to listen. Congratulations on being part of Team Calgary. And we are very, very excited for Grand Prairie.